here. I have to agree with Miracle. FCAP do have a slightly better draft. We'll talk about it a little bit more once we head into the land of Dawn. Welcome, people. It's game number 2 in this best of 5 series. Currently, FCAP is 1 point ahead of Liquid Echo. Liquid Echo on blue, FCAP on red.
You can see here the GOAT Carl TZ slightly faster on the uptake when it comes to his farm, but that does not stop FALCON's APBREN from doing what they do best. Again, our analysts mentioned this. They're going to start pushing in mid. Look at how fast they cleared that wave, forcing Liquid Echo to be defensive in their trio.
I mean, I think they're learning a couple of things from the previous game. They're like, okay, maybe we traded a little too early the last time, but against few on this Lilia, it's harder to find these trades, so let's just focus on lane prio. Ooh. Early flicker coming out of JP.
Yep, and that does open up a retry by Carl TZ on the Little Wanderer. Luckily, Kyle did hold his ground there. Didn't pull the trigger just yet, but yeah, about oh wait, team fight up top. Carl TZ very low. Is that gonna be first blood drawn? Yes, Carl TZ takes down Kyle. Flap might be up next. Looking to get some spell vamp, but not this early on. Oh no. Liquid Echo not going to let go. They're going to take away the small camp too.
They got to take everything, right? And I think that Ogun, as much as he wants to use this Guardian's Bulwark to deny, it's really not going to mean too much. But at the same time, right, I think that Kyle, he already found the value in that first flicker, and now Carl TZ just has to choke him out of farm for the rest of this game. We're going to see how things are going to progress, but in the meantime, right, first turtle coming up in 15 seconds, and I think that FALCON APBREN, they might just give this up. Give up the first one, wait for the second turtle, and then play to the strengths of their comp. They're great at taking fights and then slowly peeling back, while Liquid Echo is like, we're good at holding ground and pushing forward.
Which is a very similar dynamic from game number 1, and it's that awareness, it's that answer to who's the beatdown that FALCON's APBREN used to win game number 1 so handily. But how about now that they're down 1 kill, about 200, 300 gold, it's still them first to the scene, pulling the turtle slightly up. Can Kyle and Carl make it on time?
I definitely think that Carl can make it on time, especially with Shield Unity, but honestly, both teams recognize that this doesn't seem like a very fruitful fight. Like, we could fight for this, but really, what are we going to get off of it, right? Because it's more ideal for Liquid Echo, because if JP gets that Minoan Fury, it's kind of hard for FALCON's APBREN to re-engage into that fight, and that means that Ogwin needs to sit back when he really wants to be forward to deny skill shots.
And we really haven't seen much from that tree. Up top, oh no! Sanford! Taken out by Flap and Kyle, and now that's a man down. Liquid Echo have to fight for this turtle while missing out on a final slash. Here we go, the full-out engage. Looking for that secure. In comes JP. Kyle TZ secures the turtle. And let me know if you're by JP. Finds no one, at least not in lethal range. And Kyle TZ here taking his small camp while Sanford and Sanji come in. Quick diversion play. And FALCON's APBREN make themselves scarce.
Ooh, I mean, it's 1-1 so far. Everybody's trying to make sure that they aren't dying to silly little things, right? They're just trying to make sure that if they are going to get a lead, sure, don't let them extend it. Keep them at bay.
Again, this is real MLBB now. So there are no such thing as nothing fights. Nothing comes for free, and everything happens for a purpose. Super Marco throwing out the SOD up top. Could this be round 2? Sanford vengeancing from one to another. Still a replay from about a minute ago. Flap and Kyle take him out again.
I mean, they've been doing this time and time again, and I'm curious to see, is this because of, you know, the mechanics? They're trying to punish, like, if you want to show off your mechanics, sure, let's see how much you can test it against us as a more consistent comp, and honestly, an easier comp to pull off from the side of FALCON's APBREN. I think that Liquid Echo really need to start thinking where they need to find these resources.
So far, there is a huge lead for Flap TZ over Sanford, and a slight lead for Benny Cutie over Super Marco. That's Corrosion Scythe and change on Benny Cutie's carry already. 40 seconds until the next Lord is spawned, and I think we've yet to see the full breadth of what Sanji can do with that diversion. I think there could be bigger turns, especially when the Lord comes up.
I absolutely agree with you, but at the same time, it's on condition, right? Where's the penalty zone? Has Kyle TZ used all 3 of his abilities? Has Ogun used the Numenon Blast? Because even if you do get a flank, that Guardian's Bulwark is super annoying. Deflecting projectiles back at you, that takes away a lot of value from Sanji.
Which I think counts a majority of Liquid Echo's true damage, right? I mean, main damage sources. the spells Sanji throws out, those are all projectiles. Benny Cutie's light wheels, those are all projectiles.
Also very, very true, right? So Ogun can get a lot of value in this game, and if it deflects into the right direction, who knows? He might actually, I mean, somebody might actually get a friendly fire kill.
Turtle already started up. Sanford gets sent through the diversion. Ogun used Flicker, and there's a big jump in. Sanji taken out by Flap. SOD spent in. Kaldini taken out by Sanford. Kaldini secures the turtle. The fight collapses towards CLPH's side. And Sanford dashing on through. Super Marco, spear, lets him through. And they let him go. Falcons APBREN, not enough firepower just yet. Instead says, we'll move over to the turret.
And now they have to hold. Unfortunately, I mean, Sanji did have his flicker available, right? I think he wanted to, it was extended a little bit. Oh, Marco does,
No, not like this. Super Marco gets dashed in on, survives with just 1 HP. Sanford goes down. Revenge strike and all. Now Kaldini up next on the docket. Will he get popped? The answer is no. Still survives. Looking for the clapback from Liquid Echo. They're both backing off.
Yep, great peel from Sanji and JP. JP's waiting for that yin-yang reaction to occur, and then he jumps on in. Let's look at that replay one more time, right? Because Super Marco here, honestly, I definitely felt like he should have died, but you can see that everybody were blocking the projectile from Kaldini, meaning that only Sanford was capable of taking him out. And when the Purify occurs, it also gets rid of that demonic mark, so he doesn't get a reset.
Yep, looking at the gold lane per lane, so far, it's the same story. What I'm thinking here is Liquid Echo, they're just banking on Benny Cutie. He's the only one with a true lead over his lane mate. And if it comes down to it, that might be what matters, really. Benny Cutie versus Super Marco.
I think Few is going to play a role in that as well, right? Like Sanji, a little bit less because of Ogun, but nothing really stops Few. If Kaldini's too far, he's going to really struggle to get out of there once the Ice Queen wand is built, and the only person who can really force out that Black Shoes is going to be Sanford, or maybe even JP.
You never count out Idol Nama, kids. Few has been quiet here in this game, and maybe even better than the Julian he played from game 1. He easily takes control of these bushes. Look at that. He denies Kaldini vision.
I mean, Kaldini's still got the Lethal Wander at the end of the day, so he spots both of them. He knows Ogun's in that bush on top of it all. And in the meantime, just notice that despite Kyle, hey, I'm already 0-2, but I have 3 assists, and if you just supercharge me a little bit more, I might be able to one-shot Sanji.
Final turtle up, less than half health. In goes Kaldini with the Ignite, finds a Flap Teasy. Turtle here approaching Retry range. The penalty zone coming in. Kaldini still accused. The SOD finds all of it. Final slash taken out. Kyle Teasy and the Falcons APBREN retreating. The diversions and 3 in. Liquid Echo are on a stampede. They try to take down Ogun, but the boar will keep him alive.
Oh my
but maybe
God.
hold for a second longer. Ogun barely up. Kyle Teasy finds his man. And now Flap Teasy cleaning up. 3v1. Can he do it?
He doesn't have the abilities. He's eventually going to fall unless he gets a trade back. He gets at least one before he goes down.
But Carl Teasy ends it anyways. Now here comes Flap pushing all that remains from Liquid Echo out of their jungle. Let's see how that all went for TLPH's way.
I mean, look at this. They clumped up too close together, and I think that JP, after he does the initial jump in, he needs to get back out. The execution is really, it stacks up the more damage you take, so make sure that when you get tagged by it, just minimize your trade. Just back up. Take 1 step back.
Not to mention the spell vamp from all of those targets. So he got maybe a little bit more HP that allowed him for 1 more strike to get that kill regardless. 5-5, 24K to 23. Here's a diversion. I wonder if Kyle knows.
I mean, JP already showed himself, and Sanji's going to open up that map to see Kyle Teasy in that bush. In terms of items, Flap Teasy, the fact that he's gone with these Queen's Wings, he knows that he's going to be deep in the sauce.
Yep, and now he picked up the War Axe at 5-1-0. This isn't the usual situation you see a Terizla in. Again, he's a very low econ hero, but when he has the items, and when you put on a hero, or a player, rather, such as the Filipino cannon Flap, you end up with this.
And he's strong. He's really, really strong. The only one who can really deal with him right now is Benny QT. Now with the War Axe, it's going to be even more devastating. It's like, oh, you commit everything onto him. He's still fighting. He gets 1 big hit, and everybody, it just maxes out his War Axe, and Sanji, he's like, please don't make me flicker.
But the question is, do you really want that kind of situation? Don't you want all the farm and all the gold on a scaling hero? Terizla
mean,
caps.
Terizla does cap, but it also combos extremely well with Kyle TZ. Not to mention even Ogwin. This could set up some big plays for Super Marco. And I mean, obviously Few is going to enable that, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to, can you hit the penalty zone?
And we've yet to see it. We've yet to see it. 10 minutes in, a diversion play here, sending Benny, Sanford, and JP down. Something tells me Marco smells something is afoot.
Something isn't right here. And I think Marco's like, you know what? I'll just let the wave come to me. At the end of it all, Liquid just trying to... And that confirms it. That's
a jump scare.
It's a horror game, but that means on the opposite side of the map, Falcon's APBREN are going to push TLPH out of position.
Yep. One thing you know about a diversion is you can send people out, but you can't send them back. So that means the trio from TLPH had to walk the long way, which allowed for Falcon's APBREN a moment of aggression, but now we reset. Super Marco maintaining his placement down there in the bottom, pushing out that wave. All this while, Kyle TZ was managing top.
Yeah, but I think, you know, now the side lanes are starting to even out. Well, maybe not for Sanford here, but everybody else starting to find their own footing. Small, very small leads. Oh, the fight begins.
Could this be the turn? Flap TZ taken out. No answers except for Minnow and Fury, forcing JP to flicker back out. Oh, no. That was the Numenon Blast first pulled. The JP held his trigger there.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised that FlapTZ died so quickly. It just goes to show that Benny is he's complete. He's done with the Trinity build. Doesn't matter what else FlapTZ builds. He's just going to die even faster. Put more health on you, good sir.
That was, what, 2 seconds all it took to take off Flap? So this is what I was saying. Like, do you really want him to Terizla? Because at the end of the day, at best case scenario, he's a penalty zone machine.
And I think that's all you need, right? Every extra second from FlapTZ that can buy for the rest of the team means another stack for Few, another opportunity for Super Marco to double up on that golden staff stacks as well. All in all, right, it's whether you can set the fight up. And I think right now, Liquid Echo is making it hard.
Yep, they're not allowing Falcon's APBREN to get any solid footing. They start up the Lord Dance, pulling it out, wailing away very casually. As 3 members of Falcon's APBREN push through, Flap holding that river, while Kyle TZ just casually farms. Wow, look at this! Nice wave set up down bottom by Marco.
Yep, I mean, Marco, he's not being part of any of these fights technically with the SOD. He's got a global teleportation system on the... I mean, there's so much CC on Falcon's APBREN. It's pretty hard to miss the SOD as long as you're communicating.
Yep, and you hoarded them off into a full corridor. Oh, there's a final flash! Few with the black shoes already. Kyle TZ spotting Marco here. Put out a third of his health. Benny Cutie dashing forward. Flap TZ gets the vengeance, gets the vengeance. Moving on, a blast into a beefy boy. They answer back with a Minoan Fury. No dice. Both teams back out.
See, this is what I was telling you. Falcon's APBREN, yes, they can take space, but they can also give up space and kite backwards really nicely. As long as you chain your abilities well. Kyle is throwing down the chains. Hey, you can't walk forward. Numenon Blast comes out in time, so that, unfortunately for Benny QT, who is very short range, must take a full step back, if not dash backwards.
Something tells me this comes down to not just the damage dealers. We keep talking about Few, Sanji, Benny, Marco. Hey, maybe it comes down to the roamers too. You want to have a big Numenon Blast to set up, a big Minoan Fury to reply with, and then maybe that's why Liquid Echo is so good at controlling this now, is because they have the easier to pull off CC in their XP laner, the final slash.
I mean, there is some extra layers to it, right? Because Liquid Echo, because they have consistent ways to engage, those are the main two. They're looking at JP as well as Sanford. They're not too bothered by Carl TZ because they know they can peel one guy off, but Sanford is a different story.
These are both immovable objects. That's what's happening here. No unstoppable forces just yet. Sanford sent over into that small brush. Few knows that he's there, and all this while, look at this, Marco just continuing to work on that wave. I mean, they already pulled that trick up with the mid tier 1. I think they can't afford to keep sending Benny Cutie down to clear that wave. Look, they just gave up. They just let it happen.
Exactly, and this is what we call tempo, right? Falcon's APBREN, they know that they've got the drop on Liquid Echo. They know they can hold their position and give it up at the same time. So when Super Marco gets these small pushes and they pull backwards, reset the Lord, do it all over again, and Liquid Echo is like, no, we have to respond. We need to take this space.
Oh, Lord is at the point of no return. Oh, they do go for the reset, and they try to melt down Few, but it's not going to happen. Here comes JP, the final slash. We get caught. There's a dash by Kyle TZ. Burning them down. Sanford falls, the Minoan Fury has been used. The Numenor Black pulled out. The Diversion used to retreat, but it's not going to happen. FCAP walk away with a pickoff, and they continue to push in. They're not sending anyone home. JP holding his ground. The SMD coming in. Marco gets caught off. There's 3 over there, but is that enough?
He's bulletproof, man. This kid is absolutely bulletproof. He goes in whenever he feels like it in the middle of 3, knowing that they've got no resources.
Slapped easy, pulls the trigger, point blank, penalty zone, as the rest of them collapse on the Sanji. That's 2 down. Falcons APBREN back to regular program and taking out the Lord.
Yep, and now they're going to take the space into that purple, invade and fuse, just showing where the line is in the sand, drawing the borders right at Liquid Echo's purple buff. Now, we need to take a step back here, because despite everything that has happened, Falcons APBREN have been making smart decision after smart decision, but if we got replay of that fight, man, APBREN is a monster. Puts up the shield and Benny QT nearly kills JP on accident.
Man, we talked about how it might be between these roamers. APBREN has eyes behind his back. He set everything up so that Falcons APBREN can walk away with, again, the correct small victories that allow for that huge turn. If we were counting out as a Lord dance, I'd say that lasted a good 3 or 4 minutes.
Honestly, I would say even more, because of how many waves had to spawn each and every time, right? We saw like, what, 6 waves? So yeah, you're definitely on the correct estimate here, with the Lord already knocking on their doors. I think Falcons APBREN, they want at least, at a minimum, 2 inhibitors.
Oh no, the cavalry taken out of their breath. We're currently in the skies because the map has been turned red. Falcons APBREN are soaring through, managing to get a 3-wave sink. This bottom lane inhibitor is going to get taken out. Up next on the docket, top lane, mid might be up next as well. Where did this 6K gold lead come from? Falcons APBREN are threatening to expose the base.
And they get it. They get everything and a little bit more. All 3 inhibitors are down. The best situation for Falcons APBREN. I think the major issue here is that Liquid Echo, they don't have a means to disengage from these types of fights. When they've committed all their resources, then it's gone, right? There's nothing else. You can't pull back.
The simplest form of this were the multiple diversion play attempts. They would send 2 or 3 out across the map, and when it doesn't work out, all right, we will spend the next 10-15 seconds walking back to where the dance began anyways. So we'll see if there's anything up left in the sleeves of Liquid Echo, because they need to pull that out a minute from now. And again, maybe you could say this is a different angle, but it's mirrored. It's literally mirrored. They're just moving down to the lower quarter, and it's likely Falcons APBREN could pull the same trick.
I mean, they're probably going to pull the same trick, if we're being perfectly honest. And I mean, based off of the items as well, I don't think it's going to be necessarily enough, because half of the time they're just sustaining through. Worst comes to worst, when you think you're about to make the super play, then of course the man with literally super in his name shows up and knocks you back.
All right, and in that last moment where he SOD'd into 3, you made me a believer. I mean, I was a believer from day one. He is indeed bulletproof, but how? Well, you know what makes him bulletproof isn't even really his own skills. It's the rest of his teammates. Like, they allowed for him to do that.
They're probably screaming at him, they've got nothing, and he's like, okay,
I'm going. And again, 1 and 0 and 1. That definitely was a punishable play, but the rest of Falcons APBREN made sure Marco would not fall. Now the Lord has spawned Carl DZ and JP in the proximity. Again, Liquid Echo don't need to panic. They have the cross-map play. Sanji here holding a far bush, and the rest of Falcons APBREN looking to, again, put up a barrier. It's a huge box they're playing with. Marco wailing away at the Lord. They're going to help to get Carl DZ with the steal! Carl DZ with the steal! The Numenor Blast keeps him in place. They are going to punish him. He's still alive, rolling out. His immortality still intact. Down goes Sanji. The Minoan Fury spent in. Few from the side lanes here. JP taken out. Oh, here we go. Winter Crown spent. Few gets taken up with Marco. Benny traded out 2. And they're still going. They're still going. 2 left for Liquid Echo to defend. And they're counting bodies. Down goes Caldeezy. His immortality popped.
it's possible they could look beyond this.
Sanford down. It's a wipeout. Falcons APBREN at match point. FCAP is here. Falcons are here.
They've done such good work in truly stretching TLPH like pizza dough on that match. Now in match point, this is a huge sigh of relief for the FCAP.